How much do you think it costs to buy a car? How much do you think it costs to build a car?
$1 million.
Good Lord, that's a lot of money.
To buy or to build? That is the question. Should you buy a classic car that is already completed or nearly completed, or should you get a classic car on the cheap and then build it up exactly the way you want to? We're going to look at both of those options through my past history. I have built not one, not two, but 3 classic cars. And when I say built, I paid somebody to build them because I am not a mechanic. I am not a paint and body guy. I love old cars though. It is one of my weaknesses. Comic books and cars, my weaknesses. So we are specifically going to look at my 68 convertible Camaro that I had, my 37 Chevrolet sedan that I had, and then my current project, my 1959 Ford F100, which was the very first vehicle I got when I turned 16. So I'm going to give you specific numbers as it relates to each of these vehicles, how much it cost me, how much I had to pay someone, and we'll just look at it all, okay? So stay tuned, hope you enjoy the video, and I will give you my answer on what I think is the best at the end. Okay, this was not my first classic car, but this is the first classic car that I bought with my own money, and this is exactly how I found it. I bought this in 2007 at a transmission shop. I just saw it sitting there, and I finally got up the nerve to just go up to the shop and ask, hey, what's going on with that car? What can you tell me about it? He said that, hey, I believe the guy's thinking about selling it. He just had the transmission rebuilt, which is really good for you, and I think he's thinking about selling it. So I reached out to the guy, and he said that he was wanting to sell it, and he wanted to sell it for X price. And at the time, Capital One had like an auto finance program to where you could get like a blank check for up to whatever amount it was. So that's what I chose to do to be able to buy this car. And I guess JJ Best, they have something very similar to that. It's not a blank check, but at least they finance older, vehicles, if you will. Never used them, don't work for them, but I just know they're available. So the Camaro had an older restoration on it, but it was a very solid car. I ended up converting the car from a 2-barrel over to the 4-barrel, and I put an Edelbrock manifold, carburetor, the Summit brand MSD ignition system on it. Also put some 17-inch torque thrust wheels on there and some nice tires. Put an upgraded stereo in it that had like kick panel speakers in it. I never really wanted a convertible though, but this one was such a nice price that I couldn't not buy the convertible. So that was one of the reasons I sold it. I don't want to go into the other reason why I sold it, and it wasn't because of money. Love will make you do stupid things, ladies and gentlemen. But that was my car, man. I bought that car for $15,000. I put the carb on there, and I don't remember all these numbers exactly, but I got the manifold for like $100. It was used, but it was still really nice. Bought the carb new, dress up kits, distributor coil unit, wheels and tires. It says 18-inch, but they were actually 17. Found it on a old picture. Just some upgrading of things, and I'm guesstimating here that I had about 19 to 20,000 on it. Sold it for $25,000 in the recession. Boom. So in 2012, I bought my second classic car. It was a 1937 Chevrolet sedan. This is how I found it. This is exactly what it looked like. I found it on Craigslist, and it had the original 216 Babbitt motor, the original headliner. Picked that bad boy up for $5,000. Got it towed home for $100. happy, happy, happy. Except it only drove like 40 to 45 miles an hour. That wasn't going to be good enough, folks. I mean, it sounded like you were just blowing your head back at that mile an hour. So my dad donated a 350 motor, double hump heads, and a transmission, and the rebuild began. That is what it looked like whenever I sold it, setting low and lean. So, purchased the original car for $5,000. Towing was $100. My dad and I bought a new gas tank. My dad helped me install it. And so the gas tank straps and the gas engine unit, that at least got me up and driving around. Then just some other stuff that, we're just throwing in there that I bought just to sort of help the process along. But where that Edelbrock Performer starts at, that's where we're going in deep. So we got the Edelbrock Performer, the Edelbrock Carb, dash trim, Heights front end, mechanic bill, steering wheel, valve covers, gauge insert, automated gauges, motor miscellaneous parts by mechanic, rear taillight accessories, front turn signals, parts paid for by the mechanic. That's another $2,200, another $5,000, man, $5,000 to the total, to the mechanic, man. That brought my total up to $18,570. So I drove it around in this state for a good year. Wow, no, it's longer than a year. Good Lord, I had that car for several years. While I was doing this little expedition, though, I was out messing around, just punching it, getting into it, having fun, and all of a sudden a racket just broke off. All I could see whenever I lifted up the side hood was that my fan shroud had gotten down into the fan. I didn't know how that happened. I had some zip ties. I zip tied it back up, limped it back home, and then I took it to another mechanic. We replaced a fan, we replaced a radiator, which led into just other stuff, and then it still just sort of makes me sick to look at this amount that ended up getting put into it, that I don't really know what I got. The car ended up starting to overheat. A ton of stuff was replaced. Got it back from the mechanic. It's still overheated. Especially like if I was running the AC. It got at the epitome of my frustration with this. I was a ton of money in. Let's just look at what the total bill was at this point. $22,000. $22,000. And I sold it for $12,900. And this is what I felt like. And I'm not Little Matt. I'm King Hippo. The last vehicle to be featured in this video is my current project, the 1959 Ford F100. This was my first truck when I turned 16. My father was given the truck for free in the late 80s or early 90s. The people just wanted it moved and gone. My great uncle, who helped me pull it out of the barn to start the rebuild, was given the truck by my dad. In the early 90s, he spent around $4,000 to have a 302 motor, C6 transmission, interior, and paint and bodywork done to the truck. As I approached my 16th birthday, my father and my uncle struck a deal to get the truck for me. I'm pretty sure it involved a welder, 2 ducks, and a donkey. Or at least close to it. Heck, I may be the jackass who spent a boatload of money on it thus far. I have an inspection sticker from where my uncle had it inspected in 1993. Only 4,000 miles have been put on this truck in 26 years. Some people still don't believe the truck sat in the barn for 20 years, but it did. My uncle and I pulled the truck out of the barn in May of 2017 and have documented all the progress here on my channel. But let's look at the numbers, and we're also going to look at some recent sales on eBay and some past sales. So let's look at the current market, specifically on the 59 Ford F100s. Gas Monkey, they built the Shiner Bach F100 for $150,000 is what they sold it to Shiner for. This has greatly, helped the value of the 59 Fords, in my opinion, and they, launched that episode post me uploading my first YouTube video, so I'm happy about that. But this is currently what's on eBay. There's 4 vehicles on eBay. The 2 that I was following, neither one of those sold. That black one and the red one did not sell. Let's take a closer look at that red one though. I was watching this one and you can sort of see the time ticking down right here. I don't think it got above that $6,600. And God, that would have been a steal. Look at this. I mean, it is a very nice looking truck. It looks like it's got a professional paint job on it, professional interior, exterior. It's a really nice looking truck. I don't know whose this is. I don't have any relation to them or anything like that, but this is a nice looking truck to me. At the 19.5, I think if you're doing the buy it now on there, if this truck is up and running and spinning like a top, you're probably not coming out too bad on that, really. I think 19.5 is a pretty fair price. They've got more than that in it, I'll guarantee that. I mean, look at that motor. Nice. There's some money invested in that, folks. This stuff just doesn't buy itself and have the labor paid for to put it in. I mean, this stuff costs money. So this is a nice looking red truck in my opinion. Let's take a look at a past sale though. This 59 Ford sold in November of 2018. Love or hate the blue, that's up to you. But for $10,000, this is it's a nice looking truck to me. It looks like probably it's going to be like an older restoration. But it's a very original looking truck. Neither this one or the red one had the wraparound window in the back like mine or the Shiner Bach truck, but a little bit of an older restoration, as you can tell from the carpet, but still a really nice truck. And someone got into this truck for 10 grand, and I think that's a good deal in my opinion. And I've rebuilt a couple of cars now, and unfortunately I sort of learned the hard way on some things, and we'll talk more about that later. But pretty clean truck in my opinion, and especially at 10 grand. Okay, so this is the money that I have invested so far into the 59 Ford. We started off with that frame swap and the labor. That frame was from a 1991 Ford F-150. Then we started adding in steering wheel, the installation kit for the steering wheel, your Edelbrock manifold, your Edelbrock carb, your Flowtech headers, your power steering pump, your Locar 12-inch shifter for the C6 transmission. The first motor that has been in there for 20 years, we tried to do a motor flush on it. That didn't work. We did the valve cover gaskets, your Edelbrock air cleaner, your labor payments. We did the new Blueprint 302 motor that had 300 horses. We did a C6 transmission rebuild, the 55 Chevy seat reupholstered, the wheels, the tires, money. The EFI, system from Holley, all the things to set up my air conditioning through Vintage Air, seat belts, headliners, dome lights, sun visors, just money to get to. Boom. We're at $21,000 right now, and I'm not even done yet. I still like paint and body work, folks. Money. You see the trend? Here's my 1 minute of honest opinion. If you are a mechanic, or you're a paint and body guy or girl, or you're lucky enough to be both of those, you're probably going to be okay with buying whatever vehicle it is that you want, as long as it has good bones and you've got a good platform to start with. If you're like myself though, and you're not a mechanic, you're not a paint and body person, you better buy something that is close to finished or finished, because in the long run it will be a better investment, a safer investment, and ultimately a lot less headache for you. Just my opinion, and you can do whatever the heck you want to do. Thank you for watching. Love you long time.